Hi, you're listening to Until They Sleep, a podcast where two parents finally get to sit down and discuss all the different things that run through their heads every day because their four kids are finally asleep. Thanks for listening. Hi, welcome back to our podcast.
Hello.
Until They Sleep. This is a kind of surprise for us. We're actually recording this during the day. Everyone is either watching a movie on a laptop or playing a video game. And we decided we were going to try to escape and do this and see how long we can go before we're interrupted.
So fingers crossed, and let's see if it works out.
So today's topic, we're actually going to talk about step parenting and being a stepchild. I know our last conversation was about having a teenage son, and we touched quickly on teenage girls because I am a stepmom to two daughters, and kind of the craziness. It touched a little bit on the craziness of those years, but I think we wanted to discuss a little more in depth kind of the emotional roller coaster that goes with being a step parent, and how much step parents aren't given credit for the things they try to do. Not that all try, because I know there's a lot that don't try.
Well, I imagine at times they don't want to step on people's toes because, there's always that.
Yes, I experienced it.
Yeah.
So,
and it's a common thing nowadays. A lot of parents getting divorced and a lot of kids having step parents. And
if you are new to step world or you're coming from a step family, maybe some of this will relate to you or help prepare you. And maybe give you some hope to...
you're not alone in some of the feelings and frustrations and, I guess seesaw.
Yes, the emotional roller coaster that it is of being a step parent, at least an involved step parent, because I am aware that there's step parents out there who just completely back off, not their business, not their problem. And it is what it is. But then there's others like me who...
Well, okay, so let's touch on that one. So for you, your experience as a step parent, right, as a stepmom.
Yeah.
So when we started dating, I had two little girls that were 5 and 3 years old.
Yes.
For me, you were my friend. I known you for a long time. So being a single dad of two girls was kind of,
Yeah.
I didn't know a lot of the things. I needed some help. So I reached out to you as my friend for advice and help and teaching me how to braid hair and brush and, the
Random
can you help
girl
me give them a
things.
shower? Because
Yes.
I don't want, so I kind of wanted, witnesses. But so that led to me, I think helped out our relationship because as I saw how good you were with the girls and how loving and caring and how, you approach them and how you helped me and how you were teaching them. I mean, that definitely opened my eyes to see you as, more than just my friend, as somebody that I would want in my life because it made it easy. Also, like I had feelings, but at the same time, feelings grew. But then at the same time, I was like, well, and she's great with my girls. Like, I pretty much hit the jackpot here. I don't need to go on the nightmare of the dating world out here, or
Swipe left.
right. I don't even think that was around yet.
That's true. Not yet.
the nightmare of Craigslist or being hooked up by friends.
Craigslist.
Yes.
Yes.
I have a friend for you, and I mean, I think it happened maybe once or twice, and it was one of those where,
I know. I offered to babysit for you a couple times.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll watch the girls for
So,
you.
I guess where I'm getting at for you, once we were dating, why don't you tell us about how did you feel about, raising kids that were not yours? How was your what was the obstacles that you found yourself in? How did you bring it up to, your family or, you took the girls a lot of times.
Yeah, I did. So at the beginning, I was kind of a babysitter in the sense of, he trusted me to take the girls with me to go do things. And it was never, I never felt ashamed of them. I never felt like I had to hide who they belonged to or how they were related to me in any way. And I felt fine at first. It was fine because I think it was at that friendship stage where I was just helping him out, so I would take the girls with me, no big deal. And then as the relationship evolved and we became more serious, then it's now becoming more of a what can and can't I do as a parent figure now. And there was a lot I was not allowed to do, a lot I wasn't allowed to say. And the girls also didn't listen to me because they knew they didn't have to, or at least the eldest, because the youngest is disabled. So she wasn't so much that she didn't say anything to us or talk. She just kind of stared at me all the time. But both girls were initially really sweet, so it was kind of easy to love them. And I also kind of felt bad for them because there was a lot of crying, especially from the eldest. So I felt like I just needed to love her and hug her and hold her and let her know that everything was going to be okay. But again, as I said, as the relationship progressed and I became more of a parent figure, it became emotionally harder because I would see things or observe things kind of from the outside looking in, and there was nothing I could do or say that would make it better. If I ever said anything or did anything, it actually made the situation worse. And that eventually really broke me, like emotionally really broke me.
Yeah, I remember there was a lot of from being on the other point, the other parent. It was hard because you had a lot of frustrations, a lot of advice, a lot of things that. What do you mean they don't need this? This is good for them. They have to eat this. Like here we eat. We have so many meals, or we eat at this time, or we have vegetables, or there's water.
We don't live on Pediasure.
There's no sodas. There's no stuff like both houses were different, right?
Completely opposite
So
styles.
that
Yes.
caused issues because they will go back home and they will talk to their mom and they were like, oh, we had to do this, we had to eat this, and then it's the phone call of are you guys forcing my kids to eat this, or what do you mean that they sat there until their meal was done, or what do you mean that they had to go to bed at this time, or what do you mean they can't watch this, or they can't eat this, or so there was, and I was in the middle of it, like I had to hear from you being upset a little about the way they were being raised over there, and then I had to hear from their mom of how frustrated she was and how angry she was that we have different rules in our place, right? And as the dad, the thing that used to drive me crazy was they would come over and they didn't have clothes, or their clothes were all like raggedy and holy and whatever. And we'd go buy them clothes and then they leave with those clothes. But then every time they kept on coming back, to the clothes stains.
The cycle of clothing.
And then the other thing that was also frustrating.
To the point where eventually they told us they started leaving their clothes.
Yeah.
Because they weren't allowed to bring anything we purchased for them back home because their mother would get mad.
Yeah, so it's I don't know if other parents go through that. I've heard from other dads that that's a common thing sometimes, or it's the other way around. I've heard from also other moms saying that they go with the dad and they come back with like no clothes, or all the clothes go missing, or.
Well, like I did have a conversation with your ex one time, and I was trying to get on the same page. This was me attempting to co-parent, right? And be like, okay, look, I know I'm not the mom. I'm not trying to step on your toes, but we do things this way here. And, this is just the way we do things here. And then I basically was told, well, that's not the way I do things. I kind of let them do whatever they want. I'm their best friend. And I was basically told that I had to do it her way.
Yeah, and that's the only the other thing I remember was very frustrating for you and me was I'll admit to it now that we're like it's on record. Was it's funny how things had to be her way in her house because those were her rules. Because this is how it is in my house. But in our house, we had we couldn't do things our way. So it was like, do as I do, not as I say, right? So we were like, well, it doesn't matter. In our house, we do it this way. So this is how it's going to be when they're here. Well, they're not going over. That was the frustrating part. There were a lot of times where I just, just whatever, we'll do it our way. But yeah, she did give the girls a lot of liberties. But I know for you it was frustrating because you would try, you would want to expose the girls to things that they didn't have, or you as a mother, especially because everybody always told you, the eldest, like, oh my god, she looks just
I
like
know.
you.
We would go to so many different places, and everybody would tell me that the eldest looked just like me. And at first I took offense. I was actually like, what? Why in the world would you say she looks like me? And it was, of course, this is happening during a time where I'm already grown frustrated with some of the situation. So to have her compared to me, or to say that she looks like me, I was taken aback by people who told me that, like, no, she's my stepdaughter. Like, she's not mine. Because it was also made very clear on many occasions that she's not mine. If I didn't hear it from their mom, my husband would remind me that their mom said that they weren't mine. Not him. Daniel never at any point made me feel like they weren't mine. I understand that he was in a difficult situation because he was between both of us, having to appease her anger about the kids, and so that we wouldn't lose being able to see them, and as well trying to appease me. So I understand that he was in a difficult place, but that emotionally made me shut down, to the point where I think I stopped trying to care. And I did eventually reach a point where I didn't want to care anymore. And I'm going to get a little emotional because it was really hard.
Well, yeah, because you see them as your kids and you're raising them as
And
your
not just
kid.
this, but, again, because we came from different worlds, not just you, but the way they were being raised was so different than what I was being raised. And I saw a lot of things and heard a lot of things, and the girls confessed a lot of things to me that, maybe they were true, maybe they weren't, maybe it was just them trying to, pit the families against each other. But either way, it got to me, and I wanted to save them from whatever I thought was going on. And especially your younger one, because I thought that she needed more attention and a different type of attention that she was receiving, because she was special needs. I definitely thought that she should have been in a special school. We tried to do that, we tried to coordinate for her to go to a special needs school in Riverside. And it was for the better, right? To give her the best opportunities in life. And that was met with a definite no, that'll never happen. We tried to get them to live with us several times because we had the resources to give them something more than what they were getting in their household. But again, that was all met with, that'll never happen. And me observing and seeing everything from an outside looking in, because I really did feel like I was just somebody on the outside looking in, because I wasn't allowed to have an opinion about the whole thing or impose myself in any way. It was just really difficult to have them come over. I was just a babysitter.
Yeah, it was very frustrating for you too, because I remember when with the oldest one in high school or junior high, we were doing the parent teacher conference meetings.
Yes.
And yeah, just trying to be more involved in there and trying to be a part of it. And I remember that was turned into a big issue of, of my kids, but why are you guys trying to do so much, or why are you trying to?
That was with the second. Yeah, anytime we would try to be part of their education, go to school events, talk to the teachers. I was definitely pushed away. Like I had no business there. And this is years in, okay, mind you, I was their stepmom starting at age 3 and 5. And this is now junior high, you know. And I'm still being told that I have no business there, you know,
Yeah.
after all these years of being their stepmom. And even you, like you weren't getting invited to things. You didn't know that things were happening and they were
Oh
your own
yeah.
kids,
Yeah. I was completely excluded, you know, and it's also
especially with the eldest.
and being a father. That's why it's just weird because everything that I try to be involved in, or that we were trying to be there, right? Even the schools made it hard. You know, it's like, oh, can you please bring the court papers? Can you please prove to us this? Can you please?
Yes.
So it's
And
like,
we did. We always
but we
provided the
did, but
court
you know, and
papers.
then at the same time, it was like, I don't know. It's just frustrating because yeah, we would do everything by the book or trying to be by the book, and it always felt like we were being shunned, you know, because the
We were
mom.
the bad guys.
Yeah, we were the bad guys. Whatever stories might have been told or
Yeah.
friendships they created because we were excluded so much.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like a big slap in the face.
And that's another side of it is like we would offer like, hey, anything you need for the kids, or we'd tell the girls because there was a point where we stopped communicating with the other parent just because there was no good communication there. So we would communicate through the kids, and I know that that's not necessarily great, but
Yeah, it's a big
sometimes,
no. A lot of people say don't do
yeah,
that.
I've
But
heard that, but sometimes it's the
that
only way.
situations, yeah, it's the only way that can happen.
And the other bad side of that is that, you know, the kids, they don't say things exactly like the way you want to say, or they omit information because they know that the other parent's going to get mad. So there's a breakdown in the actual communication. But yeah, at some point we did stop communicating.
Yeah, we like we said, we respected some of the girls' decisions because it came to a time when they were old enough, and we asked, you want to live with us? You want to, you know, we'll just change it. You can go with your mom on the weekends, every weekend, that's fine, you know, or vice versa, you know, like you can do 50-50. And you know, their decision was like, no, we're happy where we're at, you know. So that's also a little bit of the frustrating when the kids come over, you see them, and they have all these complaints and gripes, and then you're trying to offer them something better, and then they say no. So it becomes an argument between us.
Yes,
you know?
as husband and wife, we start to argue because I felt there was a point where I felt he wasn't doing enough. Like, you know, you're not fighting for your daughters enough. You know, you need to do more for them. But your point of view was that that's their mom.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to share a little bit too much here, but I guess I'll add some depth to the where we're coming from. I am the oldest's father because I've been there since I'm her dad. I raised her since she was 9 months old. I'm not biologically her father. So that also was a lot of the big reasons why we had that awkward fights or moments where it was brought up all the time, you know? And it got to a point where I guess she was a teenager, beginning to be a teenager when she was told. And so there was a little bit of rebellion. And there was also the whole, you know, you're not my dad, or you're not my mom, or I don't need to be here.
That's not my family.
That's not my family. But at no moment was that ever brought up. That was heartbreaking. I was a stepchild to two families. When my mother passed away, I went to live with my dad, and I went to live with my dad and his wife, and it was a whole different world. But it must have been awkward for his wife also to raise this kid, right? So things were different houses, different rules, different way of doing things. With my mom, we were poor, you know. We got by. With my dad, it was a whole different world. There was money, there was food, there was a big house. But it was tough love. It was tough love. There was a lot of strictness. My pops was always working. He was always doing his own thing. So the treatment wasn't as loving and caring and as awesome as what you gave the girls, as welcoming as you did. Also, as a step kid, you get to see, you know, a mom being a mom, you know, looking over her kids, hugging them, kissing them, being funny with them. And you're on the outside and you're looking in and you realize that you're never going to have that. You're never going to have that love or that kiss or that attention that your siblings are getting, even though they're, I don't know, 18 and you're 7, 19, whatever, you're 7, and you're like, well, that's a grown ass man now. Like, why are you still treating them like that? Or you see your other siblings are way older, and mommy's making them their favorite dish, or scratching their backs, or brushing their hair. I love and affection, and you realize you don't get that because that's a stepmom. I can give you credit on that aspect because you never did that with the girls. Like, you always welcomed them, you always gave them love, you always played with them.
They slept in our bed for God knows how long.
So that was awkwardness. Then later on in life, my dad took me away from that area, that situation, and a year or two later, I had another stepmom, and that one taught me the better things in life, like taught me about manners and the classier things. She was her family, her kids, even though there was absolutely no blood ties there, because in the first scenario, they were all my half siblings, and this one there was no blood relation at all, and they were awesome. They were pretty good, but she also had that tough love mentality. She says she tried to raise me like one of her kids, but because of her, I owe her a lot of the things that I have and that I do. Liking certain things, or being finer in things, or
A more
mannered,
refined lifestyle.
yeah. So I owe her that. But while on the
She
other,
also tried to adopt you.
yeah. While on the other one, I learned pretty much to, I don't know, be more confident, more self love, because nobody's gonna love me. Nobody's gonna tell me I'm pretty or good looking or I'm doing great or whatever not. So I had to do it for myself, because it was realized I had to grow up. I had to stop being a kid. So I had to start growing up. So that's the things that I picked up from both my stepmoms. So as a stepkid, you wish to always have that mother love, or that real love. But I wasn't torn between
households.
Yeah, so it's a different scenario. Right?
Yeah, because your mother was no longer around to give you that love. So these women were now in charge of raising you, but not necessarily loving you.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was bumpy and it was hard, and one of them went, one of them got my teenage year, so we did argue, we did butt heads, and I ended up leaving, and then eventually.
One moment, they are now disturbing us. Okay, so we're back. That was our youngest, who wanted to tell me that she cried during a scene in Merida. Anyways, back to what we're talking about.
So, so you're saying I didn't have a mom to be loving.
To be loving, yes.
And it's different than other kids, like the situation with our kids. So, yeah, step parents, it's hard being a step parent. I can only imagine you're raising somebody else's kid. And, they might be brats, they might be loving, they might be caring. For me, it was more like, I don't want to be a dad like the step parent, like the ones I have. I want to make sure that they always feel
and you
loved
did
and included.
You did,
because I sincerely love them.
Yeah, no, definitely. You as a father to the girls. I mean, if without anybody saying anything, no one would ever know that the eldest is not biologically yours, because you adore her. You and her have the best relationship, I think, now that she's an adult, because there was that time where she went away because she knew we weren't her family, officially.
Officially on paper, yeah.
Officially on paper, yes, because he did legally adopt her. But the fact that, she was told that you weren't her biological father kind of pulled her away from everybody. Now she's an adult and she realizes that you're there for her. And I guess in the end, that's all that matters. And the same with me. I don't have as close a relationship with her as you do. But she talks to me every now and then. There's no ill feelings there. She tells me things.
She cares for you.
But,
her and me, we talk on a regular, and via text or
Yeah,
chat
but
or
we definitely don't have. I mean that step parent role is still definitely there because she talks to her bio mom all the time.
but that's yeah but that's
Again,
again that's
but
her
again,
mom.
it's the difference in the relationship, and now she's an adult, so I'm not hurt by it in any way.
The thing on that one is, and I'm going to tell you from my experience being a stepchild, you have those times when you feel like she, I guess you feel not loved or appreciated for everything that you've done. But I can tell you that you are because, we talk and she's always like, "How's mom?" Or, you know, just tell her I said hi, or I let her know that I got this award, or let her know. So by telling me it's a relay, I know that for you, it would mean the world much more that to hear it from her. But schedule or whatever makes it hard. She knows you're running around with her siblings and working and doing all that stuff. And
I'm also not a talker on the phone
yes,
or on FaceTime or whatever she does.
but for me, I can tell you that my first stepmom, we had a bumpy relationship in the beginning, and then after many years, I went back to live at my dad's house, and she was there, and I was already 15, 16, whatever it was, and it was still a little bit more rocky. But now that she's passed away, and now that I'm a father, a lot of the things that she taught me, I appreciate. They mean the world to me. And unfortunately, you don't get a chance to tell them thank you or I get it because they're not here anymore. So I am thankful for that now that I learned the lesson. Well, the stepmom, I reached out, I talked to her every once in a blue moon, but that's a different relationship. We had some conflicts, we have some different of opinions, and we decided to just kind of part ways. And I'm thankful for those 4 years that she raised me. But I did have another stepmom who really, I feel bad I don't get to talk to her or check in on her, but it was a friend's mom who kind of always checked in on me. Always made sure I was fed and
I
made
met
sure I
her.
was doing, made sure I was good. And she was loving and caring too. I don't know if it was pity, but it was welcomed, definitely. It was what I didn't get with the other two moms, a little bit more love, a little more affection.
It was your best friend's mom, right?
It was my best friend's mom was a kid. Life and our journeys led us in different paths, and we lost contact. So that's an old friend now that we lost our ways, but his mom will always have a special place in my heart. I will always be thankful, and I will always love her for what she did. Like she took the kid in for a couple of summers and fed him and clothed him because I don't know, she felt sorry for him, or I was a friend to her son, or I was a clown, even though my temper and everything.
Yeah. Isn't she the one that, you got in trouble with at church?
Yeah, she dragged me to church a couple of times, and I got in trouble in
You
church.
got in trouble.
I've been banned from churches before.
So, I mean, now your younger one, being a step parent to her, I think for me has been the hardest because I see her so differently than you see her. And I think that's been even a cause of problems or fights between you and I over the years because I think she missed out so much on so many possibilities. Again, this is from the outside looking in. Spending time with her on the weekends. It's not like I was a stranger who didn't know her. And, now she's also a grown woman and she,
So that's another thing, right? As a step parent, right there, that you can see another potential. You can
Yes.
see another point of view.
Yes.
What the kid could be capable of doing.
yeah.
Meanwhile, the parents are not in the same sheet as you.
No,
and
'cause-
the frustration that
And,
you.
and I understand that to you guys, she is fragile.
Well, for me, it was it's one of those. I just don't want to have that fight, that argument, that court, that getting lawyers and doing whatever, because or getting shut out. That I think that was my main fear, was that if I barely was involved in their life, that if I try to fight for more control or more say so, I would end up just losing them completely.
Especially with the fact that moms are always right in the courts,
Yes.
even if they're wrong.
Yeah. No matter no matter what you do, it's like, well, they're girls. You're a dude. Like, why?
Yeah.
And it's just.
I
It's
just think you had a
frustrating.
really crappy lawyer.
Yeah, I mean, but then at the same time, monetarily, I couldn't afford a better lawyer. So I had to choose my fights and my battle of
Yeah.
what am I gonna do. So
So then we would just fight.
I just, yeah. But at the same time,
It wasn't costing him anything more.
it could have cost me a whole lot more.
Well,
I
it
mean,
could have if I had divorced you. But
yeah. But I wasn't going that route. I was like, I could have lost you in the beginning before we were
yeah,
married.
that's true. That's true.
coulda,
I
you
put
know.
up with it. I
Yeah.
did sign up for it. So I knew what I was getting myself into when we got married. And
Definitely a roller coaster for anyone dating or wanting to be a step parent or not want. But I mean, think about the role that you're deciding to take on. Like that it's gonna be the hard. It's not just your relationship that you're gonna be working on and arguing. It's gonna be like twice, 3 times as that. Plus, establishing a relationship with a child.
mm-hmm.
Plus, having to deal with the drama of the other parent.
Yeah.
And plus, whatever the other parent decides to do in their lives with their partner also.
Yeah. Which was another big issue. Because that partner was allowed to be part of their lives and do everything with them, but I wasn't.
And that's where I was kind of getting at. Like, in my house, we do it this way. So in your house, she has no say so. But then when you bring it up, like, well, your partner has to say so. Why?
Yeah.
Your significant other has to say so. Why can mine? Like, it's so. Damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Yeah.
Right? Do as I say, not as I do. It's very frustrating.
Well,
Just know that whatever decisions are made, they're gonna affect everything. It's gonna be a roller coaster, and it sucks too because I guess as a step parent, you could be the one that's your problem. I don't care. I'm just gonna sit back.
And that's what some step parents choose to do. And in that chat room or whatever that I had joined, I got both things. I got advice from parents or step parents that were just hang on, once they're adults, they'll realize. And then I also got others that just mind your own business, keep your head down, and it is what it is. So I have actually gone between both sides of it where there's been moments where I don't care, whatever. They don't want to come over. I don't care if they
and
come
then
over.
for me, as a father, it could be, it's a little, frustrating or angering or what's the word I'm looking for?
Infuriating.
Perhaps because, it's like, I understand your point of view. And I thought about it. I put myself in your shoes plenty of times when it came to situations like that. But then there were times when, I needed my friend or my advice, my little Jiminy Cricket, like for some advice, for some support, some moral support on certain things, situations that were going on. And you're like, well, no, not my problem. You guys don't want me to be a part of it, or she doesn't want me to be involved in it. I mean, you deal with it. You guys figure it out. And for me, it's like, no, like, you're a part of this. Like, this is a house. You live here. Like, you're the boss too. It affects you. They come over. It affects our plans. It affects what we're doing. It affects, everything: food, money, plans, events.
No, and I know you would get super frustrated being stuck in the middle, and I know there were many times where they would change their minds about coming over because we were trying to be respectful of their choice, to be around us or not, and it would infuriate you, that they didn't want to spend time with you or me or their siblings, because by that time we had kids of our own, and it would make you angry that they didn't want to be with us. Yet their mother had a new life and a new family, and they were all about them.
I think that's the one part for me that kind of hurt me.
And that did
bothered
make me mad too.
was that once we started having our own kids, it brought the issue up even worse. You know, it was like, well, she's not going to care about them, or she's going to treat them like crap, or
I became the wicked stepmom.
yeah, or the other ones are the favorites, and we don't matter anymore. And you're like, oh man, like no, it's not like that. Like it would never be like that.
Yeah,
like,
at no time.
But you know, some people just like to assume or jump to that conclusion, right? But for me, yeah, it was part of it was frustrating. They didn't want to come. I felt like they didn't want to meet their brother. They didn't want to be around their sister. You know, like I felt at moments like I was forcing their siblings down their throats, like their new siblings, like, oh, you know, and they're like, oh, well, you know, you guys are not gonna care about me no more. And I was like, no, like we're trying to include you. We're trying to make you a part of this, like birthday parties and outings and.
Well, what would make
and
me
your
mad
big
is
sister, and look at what she's doing, and help her out, and
yeah. But what would make me mad is like we have a lot of summer birthdays, and they would come over for the summer, and they would always take off right before my birthday, or right before their brother's birthday.
no, and that one,
And they were leaving to go celebrate their
The
their step siblings' birthdays, like their true half sibling. They couldn't spend the birthday with, but they were leaving to go spend time with their step sibling
and
for
that
that
aspect,
birthday,
you know,
and
I mean,
that would piss me off so much. Even to this day, it still bothers me, but it's in the past.
yeah,
I need
no,
to let it go.
It bothers me a little
Still
bit, but
working
I
on it.
also look at it in the way that, you know, they barely know these guys, and
They live
spend
with the other
yeah,
ones.
they lived with the other ones, so it's a tighter bond, you know. But they'll never understand, you know, how much these guys like love.
Oh yeah,
them
our
and look
kids
up to them.
love their sisters. They adore them. They worship them to the point where it actually frustrates me sometimes because I'm like, you guys never see them. Like, how do you guys have so much love for them and you never see them?
Well, I'm gonna bring up a little bonus material here.
Okay.
My father still lives.
Oh yes, that's true.
Okay. And my son, the second one,
The 10-year-old.
has only seen this man, I want to say no more than 5 times in his lifetime.
I think even less than that.
And I said no more than 5.
Yes.
And he adores this man. He worships him. Why? I don't know.
Yes. Maybe
At something
distance
about
makes the
that.
heart
I
grows
don't know.
fonder.
It's
the
I
illusion.
guess, like you guys say, the energy of them,
Or
that
what do you guys say? La sangre llama?
yeah, the kindred spirit. I have no idea.
Blood calls.
But there are times when my son's like, "Oh, my grandpa," I was like, "I want to just."
Okay, they have not seen this man in 6 years.
So yeah, on that note,
On that note, the same idea. It's the same idea that I don't understand. Like
But their big sister's cool, you know.
their
like-
big sister. Well, yeah, because you know she does come over every time she's on break from her adult life, and she comes to visit. You know, she plays with them and she does things with them. And again, this is now as an adult, right? They didn't grow up with her like this because there was a long time that she didn't come over.
Oh no, yeah.
So,
but, I mean,
but whenever she was here, she was fun.
yeah.
And
well,
I think that's all they remember.
my daughter was in college and she was in the swim team, and we went to one of the swim meets, and it was just the girls and myself. And when one was a baby, and till this day, our oldest daughter is like, she sees a pool or a
6-year-old.
movie or anything where there's
Remember
somebody.
when?
Yes, you know, to her big sister is always going to be like the greatest swimmer in the world. Who, Michael Phelps? Who's that?
The eldest, yes. It's all about the eldest. So these kids, again, now, but interestingly enough, they don't miss the younger one as much. But I think it's because she doesn't play with them.
Yeah, she's boring.
Well,
To them, she's boring. She's like, she's too strict. She's like,
she's
do
another
this,
mom.
bring this, do that.
when
Listen
she's
to mom.
here, she is another mom. She's always been, when she has been around, she's been like, Mom said to do this, and Mom said to do that, and why aren't you doing this? And don't do that, you're going to hurt yourself. So she's definitely another mom. So she's not fun. So they don't miss her as much as they miss the eldest.
Now, So we're talking about from our experiences being the step parents and everything, right? And I brought up a few issues when I was the stepchild. I can imagine it's really tough for a kid that has two houses.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
I
even
mean,
as an adult, when you're an adult and your parents are divorced and you have to go to two different houses, it sucks.
yeah. So imagine as a kid that
Yeah.
you're like, well, I have a room here and I have a room there. But you know, and my dad's, I don't have to go to bed at 8. You know, I can stay up to 10:30,
moms.
and I can watch PG-13 or rated R movies. And what do you mean, Mom, that I can't have sugar and I got to go to bed at 8? And
You're definitely talking about the other way around. So we're definitely the stricter household. I think there was a time also that they didn't come over because we made them do chores.
yeah,
There was a time, and this was admitted to me, was that, well, Mom, I'm Mom S, by the way. That's what they called me. And
the grades. Remember the grades?
And the grades, yeah. So whenever they had bad grades or if we made them do chores, we would not see them for a while because we made them do chores. And literally the chores were maybe like, make your bed.
And I think part of it was like, damn, I didn't get a good grade. My dad's gonna give me grief about it.
For sure. They're afraid of you with bad grades. Boys, they don't want to talk to you about any of that stuff.
You know, and I was the worst at school when it came to grades. It's just, I just give them the eye. The eye. Every time I hear something like not a good grade, I just give them the eye. I just want them to think that I just expect, and then it is expected of them to do way better. Every parent wants their kids to do good.
The eldest came into her own, right? She figured it out. She got herself into a good high grade military position.
Amazingly, yes, because there was a little,
There was a time.
There was a time there where I was like, oh yeah, man. Even when I remember a group of friends told me one time, I was like, I was being too tough because I was like, hey, yeah, Jack in the Box is always going to be hiring, and so is any fast food joint is always going to be hiring if you keep it up with those grades. And then I don't know what happened when they clicked, or maybe that was a comment that made her mind click.
And it maybe had nothing to do with us and everything to do with her her household.
Maybe she just clicked. Maybe she just said, oh, this is easy. Maybe I'm gonna shut my dad's mouth up and show him that I'm not gonna work at a fast food joint. And next thing you know, we're talking about straight A's and college and going to college. And next thing you know, it's like, oh, I'm joining the Navy. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, on that aspect, awesome.
And then the younger one, I mean, she's working and she's still going to school.
And she's always done good.
And she's always done good in school.
But being the step parent on that one,
That was hard for me because I'm big on education. I'm big on reading and then, okay, so another aspect of being a step parent. When I had said that people would compare the eldest to me and our looks, there did come a point where I could not deny how similar we were in the things we liked. So she loved to read to the point where I got them the little nooks. I don't know if you guys remember those little black and white nooks, if anybody ever had one, but I got them nooks for Christmas one year so that she could read to her heart's content. I got her books. I would buy her, to this day, I think I still buy her books, and she buys me books. So we buy each other books, and she loves metaphysical stuff and incense and dragons and fantasy world. She loves all these things that she knows always what to get me like for Christmas or for my birthday. She sends the most awesome gifts because she's like, what does mom like? What does mom S like? And she always pins it.
And you say that you're not appreciated.
I know it's just, but no, I'm not saying I'm not appreciated. I'm saying it's a different relationship. I'm not the one getting.
But those gifts right there, she's not a very affectionate person.
I'm not affectionate. No, she's extremely affectionate. Oh. She is very affectionate and very passionate. I'm not extremely.
Well, those gifts tell you how much she appreciates you.
No. I'm not saying she doesn't appreciate me.
But that's the other thing too about being a step parent, right? So you will buy them stuff like that. You know, you saw what they liked, what the interest was, right?
Yes.
So what would usually happen on the other end?
Oh, well, okay. So because I was conscious of the things they liked, I would buy them the things they liked, like the hidden things, maybe the things their mom didn't notice. And I would buy them those things, they would take them home, and those things would disappear or get broken or thrown away. And then the girls would come over and they would tell me what happened, and that would make me really mad. And that the reason I was given is because I bought it.
The thing that I hated about the situation was the one-upper situations. Because,
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, we were tight on money at times. For
Yeah.
a time, right? Or still
A
happens
lot
at
of times we were.
And so sometimes we were,
You
like,
sold your
really...
guitar to give them a Christmas one year.
Yeah. So then, you know, like, yeah, things were sacrificed or things were done to get them something that we knew that they wanted or they needed. And then they would disappear, but then they would just get replaced with, like, extremely one-upper. And
Like-
as a parent or as a step-parent.
Oh, like we bought them the Nook, and I think they ended up getting like Nintendos or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah,
you
DSs
know.
or something. Yeah, Switches, whatever. But it's, you know what I mean? It's like, man, like, why does it have to be like that? You know?
Or we would take them to the mountains and here locally, and then they would go to Mammoth. Or we would go to SeaWorld or the zoo, and then they would go spend the weekend at Disneyland.
Oh, yeah, those were, I can never compete with that.
Disneyland for the whole weekend, we can't compete. But, you know, it's stuff like that that always happened. Or being told, hey, can you guys not take us wherever because our mom wants to take us there?
Oh, yeah, that one.
That
That one was
one-
very frustrating for you.
That
yeah.
one also broke my heart because
Yeah,
it never
that-
happened. Right?
Yeah, because then they were like, oh, yeah, we're still waiting.
So that was extremely frustrating in that sense because, you know, now I'm being told I can't do things with my stepkids because the other parent wants to do them. Because the other parent wants to have that experience. And I'm like, what's stopping you from having that experience with your children? Like even going to the park. I think I was even asked to stop taking them to the park, which is why I
It's
imagine
always
so
gonna
many
be.
say, forget it.
Yeah.
Screw it. It's not the
It's
kids.
not the mom, it's the other parent.
It's the other parent. It is. It makes it so I wish, you know, you see movies about parents, you know, couples who end up being able to co-parent together eventually. Like your favorite one, Daddy's Home.
Love that movie.
But, you know, it's, you know, as a step parent coming into a relationship with kids, you dream of, oh, you know what? I'm going to be the best step parent. I'm going to be a great co-parent. And the reality is that only works if the other parent is on board.
Yeah, so from an experience is I know that there's times when being a step parent, you know, you're trying to sometimes you got to get tough. You know, you got to do the discipline when they rebel or they're not following
Well, as
instructions.
a parent in general, but
Yeah, but then, you know, you bump into the, well, that's my kid.
yeah.
Don't tell my kid what to do. Or
Yes.
don't touch my kid. Or don't scream at them. Or don't raise your voice at them.
Yeah.
Or don't punish my kid. So that could be also, that, and at times that could also help finish a relationship too. So it's not just the step parent, like it's, if you're the step parent, and it could also be your partner that kind of builds that wall, makes it hard, right?
Yeah.
So you both have to be in the same sheet that don't
And we
ever,
were.
yeah, don't ever make me or remind them that I'm a step parent.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm a parent too.
And I appreciate that you never made me feel, you yourself never made me feel like I was the stepmom. You know,
Yeah, because you're the parent. Like,
you always told the girls, she's your mom too.
yeah.
Just like your mom's partner is your other parent in this household, Mom S is your mom. So
you
what
were my
she
extension.
says,
Yeah,
that
if I'm
you
not
would tell them
there,
that if
you're-
if I'm not here, Mom S is me.
And even if I'm here, she's still your parent.
Yeah.
Because she takes care of you, she feeds you, she clothes you, she looks out for you. Like she's still a parent. So that's the thing that I think also being a step parent could be helpful, is that your partner the parent
Yes.
that's your partner
It's
of that
extremely
child
important.
needs to be by your side 100.
Yeah.
If you don't agree with something they're saying or doing, then definitely talk about it behind doors.
Which we did. There was lots of times I didn't agree with things and we would discuss it.
Yeah, you don't want the kids around to that because they can use that as ammo.
They do. They will. They will use it because I don't know. I think there were a couple times the girls overheard us having discussions and they would go back and tell their mom. And then all of a sudden she had information that she wasn't supposed to have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but please don't ever remind somebody that they're not the real parent because if they're not the real parent, then
it'll never work.
Why is it okay for them to spend their time loving and devotion towards that child if you're going to throw that in their face all the time? That's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah, don't ever do that because not only, if the whole point of you being in a relationship with someone else and you expect that person to help parent your children or help raise them or help you in any way, if you want them to keep feeling happy about that, you do not want to demean that role as a parent figure because they're not going to want to do it. That's when they're going to step back and be like, screw it, not my problem. You figure it out. And I'm not aware of any relationships that work out in the end when that's the attitude.
Yeah. I guess more of the story is being a step parent it's twice as hard as being a parent.
It is.
But just know that no matter what, one day they will appreciate you and be thankful for what you did for them.
Well, it's been our experience.
Yeah.
And it's advice we've received as well.
I've known people that had step parents and they love their step parents and always will. They help mold them into the human beings that they are today. Successful,
even
loving parents.
if it's a little bit of time, like my younger stepdaughter, she's 20 now, and she tells me, she used to tell me, she hasn't told me this in a while because I haven't seen her, but she would say, mom, I wish you were my real mom. And I'd be like, well, why? And she'd be like, because you taught me how to do this, or you taught me how to do that, or you taught me how to do this. And I'm like, well, you should not want me to be your real mom, though. Like, you have your real mom.
Well, you are her real mom.
Well, that's what she says.
Yeah, but you are her mom.
Yeah, I know. And that's what I tell her. I am your mom. But her thinking is different. I know she expresses herself differently. So it's just to clarify with her that she has her real mom and that she should appreciate all the things her real mom does for her, too. But she does tell me, thank you. As an adult, and she's special needs, she is appreciative of the little things I do for her when she's around.
I also want to bring up another thing about some of the step parents.
Okay.
Don't be extra tough on kids that are not yours.
Which level? Your level or my level?
No. Because I've seen from friends that have step parents, right? Growing up, that sometimes the way that they treated them compared to their own kids.
Oh, yeah. Like you were treated.
It was, yeah, but I didn't see it that way. But
you didn't, but you telling
because
me
there were a
stories.
different age group,
Well.
and I'm talking about friends my age that had siblings or stepbrothers their age, and it was just, the step parent was just different, They had a mom, they had their mom, and there was a stepdad, and the stepdad was just not as cool with him. You can tell by the size of the rooms or the things.
You mean like a Harry Potter situation?
Not
to that extreme.
Not living under the stairs. No, not that bad.
No, I know what you mean.
One had a Nintendo, the other one had a Dreamcast.
I know what you mean. Just that extra toughness because the kid's not yours.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, he's not as good as mine.
And that was something I think the girls, I don't know where they got the idea that I was easier on my kids, my own kids, than I was on them, because my kids will tell you I am not nice. I'm sorry, yeah. I am not a nice mom, according to...
You're a nice mom.
I'm a nice mom. I'm extremely strict. I'm a nice mom, but I have high expectations. And I'm willing to do things, but I expect certain things in return. My stepdaughters I mean, I hope they see it now, that I wasn't the wicked stepmom that they were being told I was. Because I used to make them make a bed or wash a dish or eat some vegetables.
Hang in there if you're a step parent.
And like
You're
you
not
said,
alone.
don't be super tough just because they're not yours.
But always, kids need. They're still young. They're
They're
being
still
molded.
little. They need love.
So yeah.
But what about teenagers? I mean, they need love too, though.
I no matter what I did or how I acted, there were times when, and like I said, my friend's mom, she will always be in my heart because no matter what I said or did, or I acted the opposite. But sometimes all I needed was that hand or that hug or that warm embrace of saying, one of the memories I have the most about her was like we were going out to a quinceañera, right? We were all dressing up, and she tucked my shirt in. She was like, "Come here," and she was helping me tuck my shirt in. She said, "This looks better with what you're wearing. Like you look more handsome." I was just trying to be the cool guy, with
With your shirt untucked.
wearing my shirt untucked, and I'm like, I was in the path of being the lady killer to this party, and she just coming here and she's like, "Come here, like you need to tuck this in like this and wear it like that," and for that moment, obviously I still remember it. That was enough love for me to make me feel special that day. So no matter what teenagers say or do, we all want a hug. We all want to feel loved. It's part of the human code. It's just no matter what we say, we can be the toughest guy in the world. You can pretend it, but a hug is a hug. They're welcome. You always need them. So
Give them hugs and kisses. I mean, you don't have to give them hugs and kisses, right? Because everybody's about personal space these days. But don't forget to let them know that you care. Because when they're little, when they're young, they don't know. They don't understand the adult drama.
I think the most important thing you cover like physical things, but I think mainly is
The
that
psychological. Don't
give them the silent treatment. Don't pretend that you don't care.
don't put down their parent.
Their other parent.
I mean, it's really hard not to. Oh my gosh, it's so hard not to put down the other parent. And I'm for sure that parent's putting you down.
Yeah,
but
it's a vice versa thing, right?
yes,
Yeah.
we learned. There's always two sides.
Two sides to every story. Yeah, thank you.
But just be there for them.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you again for listening to this therapy session between us, mainly my wife.
I know
about
this is
being a
my therapy
step-parent.
right now because it's been
I hope it helps you also.
17 years.
Just know you're not alone, and we're here for you. And
You guys have a good night
yeah, hopefully this helped
or a
out a
good
little
day,
bit.
whatever time you're listening to this.
And once again, thank you for making this part of your day.
All right. Bye.
Bye.